Hello, CoolMan229 here with another Topic of the Week video. This week's topic will be over Godzilla The Series. And if you're not sure what I'm referring to, I am referring to this. It is it's a cartoon show that acts as a continuation to the awful 1998 Roland Emmerich movie. And you might be saying, okay, cool man, you're pulling my leg here. They made a cartoon out of this? Yes. And you know the biggest shocker? It's good. I'm not kidding. Like, I had never heard of this show until my friend Angel89 was like, yeah, there's a show based off the 98 movie. I'm like, okay, no. And she's like, no, trust me, it's good. And I'm like, okay. So I bought it off of Amazon. The whole series is only like, well, I got it for like $7. I got this whole thing for $7. And yeah, the show is pretty good. Not perfect, but it justifies the existence of that horrible movie. Now, the topic was sent by Angel89, and she asked me your honest thoughts on Godzilla the series. What you felt were weaknesses and what you felt were strengths of the cartoon. Now, like I said, this show is not perfect. It does have a few issues, and I'll touch on those. One of the things that the movie failed in was being Godzilla. In fact, it's considered such an abomination that the Monster Nut movie is referred to by Toho as simply Zilla. And they completely massacred it in the movie. No one likes it. But it didn't act like Godzilla. There was no atomic breath. There was no... it wasn't even... there weren't monster fights. It didn't even make any sort of like... It wasn't even good. It was boring and unlikable characters. It was a mess. And it was an awful adaptation. Thankfully, we have the 2014 movie to make up for that. Now, one of the biggest things about the movie is that it ended on a cliffhanger that implied that there was going to be, a sequel. And it was like, okay, there is one Godzilla egg left. They destroyed all of them except one. Oh, what's going to happen? Well, this. Zilla Jr. Basically, the movie, the show, the very first episode starts off with the end of the show where Zilla dies. And it gives you all the relevant information. You could just skip the movie. Just don't even bother watching it. Because all the relevant information is in the show. It... Basically, Nick Tatopoulos, the character played by Matthew Broderick in the movie, is now a much better character in this. Though he still has his stupid girlfriend. That's a flaw of it. But they're conducting a search just to do a sweep to make sure they cleared everything out. So he ends up stumbling upon this egg covered in Zilla goop or whatever, and this baby imprints on him. So now he basically has Godzilla as a pet. And the new Godzilla Jr. does start treating Nick as sort of a mother. And across the show, but it's funny because the show basically is so Godzilla. It has they fight all these. They go around the world and they fight monsters. They fight monsters. There are different monsters in the show, and yeah, Zilla Jr. has the atomic breath. It's awesome. I don't know if you can really understand, but you have to watch this. Watch the show. Watch the show. It's good. It's good, and it's really enjoyable. It's an enjoyable show. There are 40 episodes of this. Unfortunately, it still got canceled. Okay, so what are the strengths of it? The strengths of this is that it's Godzilla. If you were disappointed in the movie, then you'll be happy with this show. If you love Godzilla, anything from the older movies to the goofier monster fight movies, it has elements of that. And it's fun to watch. The characters aren't as obnoxious. Nick Tatopoulos is actually a good character. He's sympathetic and likable. And again, for some reason, his girlfriend Audrey, and I'll talk about her. But the problems with the show are minimal. It's fun to watch. It's decent. It has some character growth, and yeah, let me see if one of the discs has the main characters on it, or if they're all going to be. I'm very much prepared for this. Okay, so they all have the same picture on them. All right, so you got the main characters. You got Nick. You got, I think, Mendel, and then Ellie, and then, gosh dang it, I forgot that guy's name. Anyway, they basically end up forming a team, and they take care of Zilla Jr. and they solve problems. They fight monsters, and if something crops up, they go there. It's got some good good humor. It's got some great moments, especially between Randy and Mendel. Their interactions are great. And then they're introduced to this like French chick, and she's like a spy, and she's great. And this French guy, and I think he was actually in the movie. He's in the show, and as a sort of a bit part. And it's funny. It's like they took the few good things in the movie, and they're like, okay, that could be neat. We're going to do it better. And that's the entire show. It's what that movie failed at is what we're going to do good. Because taking the Godzilla and trying to make it, I guess they were trying to go for a more realistic approach. They basically say screw that in this series, because monsters pop up everywhere, and it's great, and it's good fun. It's got some good storylines too. I mean, it's nothing like super deep, but it's still good to watch. I mean, you can't go in expecting some sort of Christopher Nolan-esque plot line or whatever. It's a Godzilla series. They're fighting monsters. Hell, at one point, aliens are involved. I want to believe. Yeah. The show gets ridiculous, as it should. And it basically is like, yeah, screw that movie. We're going to do whatever the hell we want. Some bad things. The show does have flaws. Romance tends to be the weakest part of this series. Now, Nick has his overbearing, crude, self-centered, absolutely worthless girlfriend Audrey in the movie, and she's in the show for some reason. This chick, the blonde, yeah, she's in it. They're still together for some reason, and it's so ridiculous that they're together at all. I mean, granted, thankfully she doesn't crop up that much. In only a couple episodes out of 40 does she even have any relevance. But she comes in and she's overbearing, she's selfish, and she's totally willing to screw over Nick to further her career. And for some reason, they're still together. I mean, I honestly believe that this was some sort of executive mandate. Because, honestly, there's infinite more chemistry with Nick and Ellie. But that's getting into shipping. And it's just confusing because Audrey is so like, the only good thing about her is the guy, her cameraman is with her, and he's funny. So at very least when she comes on, because when she comes on, you're just gonna be like, you again, and then they shove this romance drama with her and Nick, and it's so stupid because every single time this comes up, they basically are like, yeah, we're not all that great together. Yeah, we're always going to choose our jobs over each other, and it's like, okay, but then why are you guys together? It doesn't make sense. And then later in the series, Ellie and the Craven guy sort of get together, and that is one of the most absurdly mishandled. Like every other episode, it's like they either can't stand each other, and not even in the tsundere way. It's like there's no chemistry between them romantically at all, and they basically are disgusted at the idea of being with each other, and all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, well, we're going on a date, and it's like, And it's random, and it feels like it was some sort of executive mandate. It doesn't even fit with anything that's going on. It just happens. And it's like there's no build-up. There's no actual reason for it to happen. In fact, the only relationship in this entire series is between Randy and the French girl. It's funny because it's actually kind of a cute, but you know, Randy is sort of a younger guy, and he's wants to prove himself. He's the goofy, sarcastic guy who's always playing jokes. Craven has this little robot with him, voiced by Tom Kenny, I believe. And Randy always reprograms it to say stupid stuff. And then the French chick, she's super serious. She's a spy. And and they actually have some chemistry, and they work. But Nick and Audrey, and then Craven and Ellie, I don't. It's like the show would have been better if they were just not there. Like if the relationships, not the characters. Aubrey gone, but yeah, if these relationships didn't happen, honestly, pretty much all of my problems with the series would be gone. The only other real problem with it is that it got canceled. It never got to finish its storylines. Everything just sort of ends. And it's sad, but it's not something that I can really fault the writers or the creators of the show. I mean, there's not much you can do. It's like, I'd be like faulting Spectacular Spider-Man for ending season 2 on a cliffhanger, where half a dozen things are unresolved because they got canceled. But yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of Godzilla, I would highly recommend finding this on Amazon. I think it's still on Amazon. Let me check. Yeah, I got this cheap, like $7. Yeah, it looks like it's still on. Yeah, it's $9 on Amazon right now. So yeah, I recommend it. If you can get your hand on this, buy it. It's fun. It's great. This is turned into something of a review of it, but yeah. You can ignore the romance stuff. It's generally not entirely. I mean, sometimes it crops up and you're just gonna groan. You're just gonna be like, all right, let's get back to the actual story. But overall, those problems are minor. The rest of the show is great, and yeah, like I said, I highly recommend watching it. That is my honest thought. I love this show. I'm not even like a huge Godzilla fan like Angel in '89 is. But I still love this show. So yeah, those are my honest thoughts. I can't even think of too many negatives. In fact, there's so much things that would be fan service for Godzilla fans. They even make pseudo references to stuff like Mechagodzilla. It's different, but it's still a reference, and it's something that you can clearly see took inspiration from that sort of stuff. And it's great. Even I got excited about stuff like that. So yeah. I believe that's, So yeah, the strength of the show is that it fixes a lot of the problems from the movie. You can basically just scrub the movie from your mind with this show. The strengths, and I mean, I'm not even touching on some of the stuff like the relationship between Zilla Jr. and Nick, and the tension that brings along in the plot. But I mean, I don't want to spoil too much of the show for you. But yeah. The strengths, it's goofy. It can be insanely goofy, but it still takes itself seriously enough to actually write itself well. The weaknesses, the stupid romance. There's 2 stupid romances that don't even really need to belong. They almost felt like they were there because they were mandated. And that's really it. It's just, I love this show. I highly recommend watching it, especially if you're a Godzilla fan. Even if you're not, there's still plenty of good stuff in it. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video. So yeah, if you want to submit a topic, just comment. If you're on YouTube, comment below. If you're on Tumblr, just send me an ask. Put topic : and then ask me what you want me to talk about. Just remember guys, to be specific when you're doing this, because I've gotten a number of them that are very, very general, like, what do you think of X? And I end up with videos like my Mass Effect one, which was like 40 minutes long, and I think that's just too long for these videos. But yeah, just try to keep them, try to, if you have a topic of something you want me to talk about, just pick one thing in that and ask me about that so that I can focus the conversation on that. So, yeah. So, thank you for watching.